In this video, I'm going to show some selected problems from Lesson 15 in the Oklahoma Supplement, and this lesson is on median, mode, and range. Remember that the median of a set of data is the middle number of the data once you have written your data in order from least to greatest. The mode is the most common value in your set of data, and the range is how far apart your data is, in other words, the difference between its greatest and least values. We're going to begin by looking at question number 10 on page 88 in your journal. Question 10 says the table shows the number of points made by the Hoover Middle School soccer team during 9 games. You're going to find the median, mode, and range of the data, and then you're going to describe the data. So I know the number of points is 3, 0, 2, 2, 1, 1, and then 1, 1, 0. First thing I'm going to do is put my data in order from least to greatest, and when I do this I mark it out as I go to keep track of what I have written down. And then a 3. So now I have my data in order from least to greatest. If we're trying to find the median, we want the middle of the data. The mode is the most common piece of data, and the range is how far apart it is, the maximum minus the minimum. So I can find the range very easily. Maximum is 3, minimum is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. The mode, the most common piece of data, is clearly 1. The median, I want to try to find the middle piece of data, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel out the greatest and the least value, and I'm just going to keep canceling these out until I get down to the middle number. You can mark out your biggest and smallest, and just keep doing this like this, or you can kind of use your fingers once you have it in order. Just make sure that when you're doing that, you have an equal number of values on the left hand side and the right hand side of your median. So you can see I have 4 values over here and 4 values over here, so this is the median. The last question that it says to do is describe the data. That means just look at the data and tell what you know about the data. So I know that half my data is greater than 1 and half the data is less than or equal to 1. I know that the data is not that far spread apart. The range tells you how far spread apart it is. The range is only 3. So this is number of points scored by a soccer team. It means that they scored about the same amount of points each game. There weren't any games where they had a huge outlier amount of points, like scoring 10 goals in one game. So they were shut out a couple of times, and they had a maximum number of goals of 3. But the most common amount of points that they scored is the mode, which is 1 goal. Let's now look at question number 12. It says write a set of data that has a median of 14 and a mode of 2. And then it also says what is the range of your set of data. So we want a median of 14 and a mode of 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's make 5 numbers to make this fairly easy. And I'm going to go ahead and put 14 as my median, the number that's right smack in the middle. And I want more 2's than anything else, so these 2 numbers right here are going to have to be 2's. And then I need 2 numbers that are greater than 14, but I don't want them to be the same number, so I'm just going to pick 15 and 16. So now when I go ahead and try to find the median, cancel out the greatest and least, cancel out the greatest and least. I know that the median is 14. I know the most common piece of data is 2, and I can find my range. The range is how far spread out this data is, and I can find that by figuring out the difference between the maximum and minimum. 16 minus 2 is 14. Question number 13 says, suppose the median height of the students in your class is 50 inches. What can you conclude about the heights of your classmates? Explain how you know. What the median is telling me is that the middle value, when we arrange everybody in order of their heights from the shortest person to the tallest person, that the absolute middle of those students is going to be 50 inches. So that's telling me that half the class is taller than 50 inches and half the class is shorter than 50 inches. I don't know, based on the median, I don't know if we have somebody who's 7 feet tall in this class. I don't know if we have somebody who's really, really short in this class. All I know is that half the people are 50 inches or above and half the people are 50 inches or below. So I know I have some people who are who half the class who are 4 feet 2 inches, in other words 50 inches or less, and then I also have half the class that are 4 feet 2 inches or greater. Let's next look at the homework page on page 90, number 5. And I'm not going to solve this, but I do want to point out a couple of things. It says a data set with 3 values has a median of 18, a mean of 18, and the greatest data value is 24. What is the least data value? Well, we know that the greatest, the maximum, is 24. So we know that's one of your 3 values in your data set. So you can go ahead and make 3. What I would probably do to solve it is I would probably make 3 blanks, and I'd go ahead and fill in the 24 as your greatest number. Now your job is to find out what these other 2 numbers are so that you can eventually tell what the least number in your set of data is. It tells you that it has a median, a middle amount of 18 when you put them in order. Now remember, the median does not necessarily have to be a member of your data set if there were an even amount of pieces of data, but in this case there are an odd amount of pieces of data, so the median is 18. So that tells you another one of your data set. And now you just need to figure out what do we need to go right here so that when we add all these up, or we level out all 3 of these pieces of data, so add them all up and divide by 3 to level them out, that we get 18. And if you look at this, without giving away the answer, if you look at this, we have our mean already on here. So think about how much bigger than this is the mean, and then what needs to happen to this number so that the mean will remain 18. And lastly, number 6, the table shows the number of pieces of jewelry that Jody sold during several craft fairs. Find the median, mode, and range of the data, and then explain which value she could use to predict how many pieces of jewelry might be sold each day. So obviously when you're working this out, you're going to need to put all these pieces of data in order from least to greatest, and then find the median, the middle value. You're going to have to look at, once you got them all in order from least to greatest, which one do you see the most of? It's the most common piece of data. And then we're going to have to find out how far apart your data is spread by finding the maximum and the minimum and finding out the difference between those 2 values. But the part that I wanted to talk about was explain which value she could use to predict how many pieces of jewelry might be sold each day. Remember, the range is only telling you how far apart your data is. So on your day where you sold the most pieces of jewelry, and on a day where you sold the fewest pieces of jewelry, how far apart that is. I'm not sure that that would necessarily help you predict anything other than knowing that the least amount you might sell and the greatest amount you might sell. The median and the mode are probably going to be the 2 ones you need to think about, and you need to ask yourself which one would give me a better opportunity to predict. If I were to have one more day of selling jewelry, which one of those data landmarks will give me the best opportunity to predict the most likely outcome on that extra day?